Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. The prayer this morning will be offered by the good gentleman from Washington County.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Good morning, colleagues. May we bow our heads in solidarity and prayer. Dear God, we gather today in service to the people of Maryland, mindful of the responsibility entrusted to us. Grant us the wisdom to listen, the patience to find common ground, and the courage to act with purpose. May our work today and always reflect the trust placed in us by those we serve. Bless this chamber with unity, intention, and a spirit of collaboration, that our service may be worthy of the faith placed in us. In this, we ask for your guidance and grace. With gratitude for this opportunity, we ask for strength, vision, and integrity in all we do. Amen.
Amen. Quorum call.
Madam Speaker.
Has everyone recorded their presence? If so, the clerk will take the call. There being 128 members present, the House is now in session. Clerk will read the journal from the previous day.
Annapolis, Maryland, February the 20th, 2025.
Recognizing the Deputy Majority Leader.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Move so much be considered the reading of the journal.
So ordered. Petitions, memorials, and other papers. The clerk will read the bond initiatives and the committee assignment.
Introductory House Bond Initiatives number 48, February 21st, 2025, referred to appropriations.
Message from the Senate. Consent calendar number 7. Senate bills introduced in the House. Clerk will read the first bill and committee assignment.
Senate Bill 5, Senator Lamb, Health and Government Operations.
Recognizing the Majority Leader.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. So much be considered the reading of Senate Bill 5, be considered the reading for all the bills on the calendar.
Hearing no objection, the bills are read the first time and referred to the appropriate committees. House Resolution recognizing the good delegate from Baltimore County.
Good morning, Madam Speaker. Good morning, colleagues. It is an honor to stand before you today as we celebrate the kickoff of CIAA Week in Maryland and recognize the incredible legacy of the Central Intercollegiate Athletic Association. Founded in 1912, the CIAA is the oldest HBCU athletic conference in the nation, and its impact extends far beyond the court. For more than a century, the CIAA has been a pillar of excellence, empowering student athletes, fostering leadership, and strengthening our communities through sports and education. This year, we have even greater reason to celebrate as we mark the 50th anniversary of the CIAA Women's Basketball Tournament. We can clap for that. This tournament has not only showcased elite talent, but has also provided a platform for countless young women to shine, pursue their dreams, and leave their mark on history. All of this predated the WNBA. The theme for this year's CIAA tournament, Elevating Our Legacy, is a powerful reminder of the conference's enduring commitment to progress. It speaks to the rich tradition of excellence that has been built over the years and the bright future ahead for our student athletes. In 2024, so we understand the importance of this tournament to us, Marylanders, in 2024, the tournament generated a total economic impact of $32.5 million, which supported 1,315 part-time and full-time jobs and generated $3.1 million in state and local taxes. For that, we welcome the players, coaches, alumni, and fans who have traveled from near and far to be a part of this incredible tournament. As we reflect on this historic moment, let us continue to support and uplift the student athletes who gave their all on and off the court. Their dedication and determination inspire us all. Madam Speaker, permission to use the delegates' names.
Permission granted.
Acknowledging a few of the members of this body who are also graduates of CIAA institutions, I'd like to join me in standing Delegate Edith Patterson, a graduate of my alma mater, Virginia Union University. And Delegate Andrea Harrison, a graduate of Bowie State University. Representing the CIAA and the host institution, Bowie State University, with us this morning is Clyde Dougherty, Vice President, Intercollegiate Athletic and Recreation, Vice President of Intercollegiate Athletics and Recreation, and Sade Swan, the women's basketball coach. Thank you very much, and let's just celebrate the CIAA for being here with us.
Will the reading clerk please read the resolution in full?
Be it hereby known to all that the House of Delegates of Maryland offers its sincerest congratulations to the Central Intercollegiate Athletic Association in recognition of 50 years of the CIAA Women's Basketball Tournament and your support of HBCU excellence and impact since its founding in 1912. The entire membership extends best wishes on this memorable occasion and directs this resolution to be presented on this 21st day of February 2025.
Special order calendar number 10. The clerk will read the bill.
House Bill 107, Consumer Protection, Automatic Renewals. Favorable report is amended and adopted.
Recognizing the maker of the motion.
Madam Speaker, I'll be offering the amendment. That's okay. I have an amendment at the desk. It is amendment number 913622/1.
Amendment number 1.
Move so much be considered the reading of the amendment.
So ordered.
First, I would like to thank my good friend from the shore for the special order of this bill. And thank you to the floor leader for taking the time to talk through the issues and thoughtfully consider our concerns. This amendment on page 5 in line 31 strikes 13-408 and substitutes 13-408 and 13-411. This issue is very important to my constituents and to me personally. My first year, I had a bill that attempted to address the issues with automatic renewals and the cost to consumers. It was my first bill presentation in ECM, and I was very nervous. The chair, however, was very kind to me and simply asked what the penalty would be. And I realized I had not thought this bill through. So looking at this bill through that lens, I reread House Bill 107. This is a very well thought out bill, and I agree completely with almost all of it. There is one issue that I hope that you could help me resolve, and that it is to remove the criminal part of the penalty provision, leaving, of course, the civil. and it is in that spirit that I offer this amendment for consideration.
Madam Speaker.
Okay, go ahead.
Thank you. I do want to thank Delegate Miller and Delegate Hartman for stopping by. I appreciate, permission to use delegate names?
We're a little late, but
I apologize.
yes.
Want to make sure we didn't miss anybody up.
Okay.
Delegate Hartman and Delegate Miller, thank you for reaching out about that, and I totally agree with you. I think your point about this is a good bill for Marylanders, and I think that point. So thank you again, and that's a friendly amendment that we'll accept. Thank you as the committee.
Thank you, Floor Leader. Thank you. This is a good bill. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
The question before the House is the adoption of the amendment. All in favor signify by saying aye. Opposed? The ayes have it. Clerk? What? The amendment has been adopted. Are there any additional amendments to the bill to its title? Hearing none, the bill is ordered printed for third reading. Special order calendar number 11.
Madam Speaker,
Clerk will read the bill.
House Bill 582, Labor and Employment, Exemptions from Overtime Pay, Administrative, Executive, or Professional Capacity. Fair report is amended and adopted.
Recognizing the floor leader.
thank you, Madam Speaker. The committee would like to special order this bill until appropriate time. Thank you.
What time?
At least a week, maybe two. Okay, thank you.
Realistically, tell us the date.
All right, 2 weeks. Oh, until Tuesday. Okay, Tuesday. Thank you. Special order until Tuesday. Thank you.
Next Tuesday, right? This coming Tuesday, right?
This coming Tuesday. Thank you.
Question before the House. This is special order House Bill 582 until the appropriate time this coming Tuesday. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Anyone opposed? The bill has been special ordered. Quorum call.
Madam Speaker.
Has everyone recorded their presence? If so, the clerk will take the call. There being 132 members present, the House is still in session. Calendar of third reading House Bills number 14. Clerk will read the first bill.
House Bill 380, Criminal Law, Prohibition on Sale of Contraceptives and Contraceptive Devices by Vending Machine in School, repeal.
It's on the purpose of your rising.
Oh, I'm just waiting for you. I'm going to talk about it when you're ready.
Okay, but you know, there's a process we do.
Yeah, I'm just waiting.
Okay.
Yep,
All right.
just stretching my legs.
Okay, we don't need any more info. House Bill 380 is on third reading and final passage. Is there any debate? Yes, go ahead.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Body, I am so disturbed by the final draft of this bill. First of all, I'm not the youngest person down here, but I wasn't in school that long ago. 20 years ago, there was already condoms in the schools where it was appropriate. You could just go to the nurse's office. It was free at taxpayer expense. If you look through the testimony, in support of the bill from my committee. It was about safe sex for high schoolers. Great. What a great idea. We already have that. We have it for free. This bill would put it at a cost in a vending machine in not only high schools, but middle schools, gray area there maybe, but also elementary schools, preschools, and daycares. This is delusional. This is the kind of stuff that makes swing states go red. It doesn't make any sense logically. It frankly shocks the conscience. Why in the world would someone in a preschool need a condom? People in every possible work of life, every job you can imagine, have sex. And do you know where those people go to get condoms and prophylactics of other types? They go to the CVS like everybody else. Where do all of you go? There's no vending machine condom things out here. Somehow you found them. It's a miracle. It's a miracle. So, to refuse to accept an amendment in good faith to remove babies, essentially, from being exposed to prophylactics via like machines in their learning environments, it's totally tone deaf. I know that it's been a hard few months since November, but the American people have said something to everyone in here, both parties, and what they've said is things are getting too extreme. They're going too far one direction. I want you guys to succeed. I really do. I actually like a lot of, not all of you, but a lot of you. I do. And I want to see you win. I don't want to see your party go down off of a cliff into condoms for kiddies. It's delusional. And history is going to look back and think, what on earth? Why? So a predator in one of these daycare settings can wrap it up and leave no trace when they molest a child? Come on. So, prophylactics are already available for free in public schools, in secondary schools. We do not need pay for condoms via a vending machine so that preschoolers can say, Mommy, I want some candy. What's in that? I want something. I want a snack. Honey, no, that's to cover up a penis. This is crazy. Please, come back to reality with the rest of us. You guys are, I see there's been some navel gazing. You guys have done a little bit internal work. There's a little bit more work to be done after the big loss. This is one of those things that makes absolutely no sense. Please, come back to us. We miss you.
Who's getting up? You? Majority leader or the floor leader?
Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Yes.
Colleagues, this bill is just really a very simple bill. All it does is remove a criminal penalty. It's not setting policy. It's not dictating to anyone what they should or should not do or to any of our school systems. It's just all we're doing is removing a misdemeanor from our criminal law article. And for those reasons, I will be voting for this bill, Madam Speaker.
Is there any further debate? Gentlelady from Baltimore.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I rise to agree with my colleague from Harford County. Condoms for kiddies. This goes too far. So next year we're going to have a bill regulating what can go in these condom machines. What color can the wrappers be? What words can go on the wrappers? I mean, imagine walking into preschool with your 3, 4, 5-year-olds. You walk by the machine and they say, Mommy, Daddy, what's in that machine? Or they're learning to read. And you're having to explain to them what those words mean. This is the over-sexualization of our children, and it just goes too far. It is much, much more than just what the floor leader said. When these machines show up in your elementary schools, we will be back here so you can regulate them. Vote no and save us the time.
Madam
Thank
Speaker.
you.
Yes. Go ahead.
Good morning, Madam Speaker.
Good morning.
So House Bill 380 takes away the criminal penalties for putting condom machines in elementary schools. Here we are past the halfway point of a 90-day session, and this is the priority of the legislature, certainly of the majority party. Are we talking about how to make electricity bills lower? I haven't seen that bill come before us yet. Are we talking about all of the children that are stuck in failed schools that can't read or do math proficiently in accordance with state and federal tests? Oh no, we're not talking about that either, and I haven't seen those bills either. Are we talking about how there's not enough electricity on the grid in the state of Maryland, and no reasonably smart manufacturer or quantum computing company or data center would come to a state where there's insufficient power? Yet that's the governor's priority. We're not dealing with any of those issues. Instead, condoms for kindergartners. How shameful. That's the priority of this legislature? Really? Are you not getting the emails that I'm getting about electricity bills? This bill should really be about removing Empower Maryland from your electricity bill to save people money. Yet this is your priority. I agree with the young lady from Harford County. You aren't listening. You're not listening to the constituents. When this is your priority, you're not listening. And for all those reasons, I'm voting no. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Is there any further debate? If not, the clerk will call the roll.
Madam Speaker.
Has everyone recorded their vote? Does anyone care to change their vote? If not, the clerk will take the call. There being 89 votes in the affirmative, House Bill 380, having received a constitutional majority, is declared passed. Clerk, read next bill.
House Bill 424, Prescription Drug Affordability Board, Authority for Upper Payment Limits, Lowering Prescription Drug Costs for All Marylanders Now Act.
Recognize. It's on third reading and final passage. Is there any debate?
Yes. Thank you, Madam Speaker. I'm going to try to be very brief and not even 1/1,000,000th of colorful as the debate that we just heard. The prescription drug affordability boards are an unproven and untested concept. There is no evidence that in any state that has attempted to bring them about, including our state, for 5 or 6 years, we've been going down this path, that they have had any impact whatsoever of a positive nature on prescription drugs. Despite the fact that we have not tested the reality, the real world impacts and effects of the policy, because years ago we passed a bill that said we're just going to do this within our essentially state and local healthcare plans, and we have not implemented it at all, and we have been met with hurdle after hurdle after hurdle, and industry sector out of industry sector groups saying, we don't think this is going to work, we think there's going to be negatives, we think this is going to create problems. But rather than see how it gets implemented in the real world and see whether any of these things come true, because it hasn't happened anywhere, we are jumping ahead and saying now we're going to do it across the entirety of our private sector insurance market, and now we're going to affect every single person with these same policies. When a wide variety of groups affected by this say, hey, we don't think this is going to work, and no one else in the United States of America, my friend from Cecil County sometimes says, you know, we think we're the United States of Maryland. We're just one part of a national quilt of policies when no one else has done it, when it hasn't worked, and when a lot of people are saying, slow down, We've certainly gone very slow already. I think that it doesn't make sense to do this. We're concerned about patient access. We're concerned about orphan drugs. We're concerned about the impact that it has on our pharmacies, concerned about the impact that it has on research and development and incentivizing Maryland companies in particular to be the best in the world at developing medicines and treatments that save lives. And all of those entities are saying to us, we don't think doing this with the Prescription Drug Affordability Board at this point makes sense. And as we unfortunately sometimes do, we say, to heck with you, we're going to do it anyway. And we believe that that's a bad policy at this point in time. It's well-intentioned. The gentle lady from Montgomery County and those who work with her on these issues has nothing but the best of intentions. I know that. But it would be best for us to not approve this policy at this point in time. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Madam Speaker.
Yes, go.
Thank you. So, colleagues, I want to thank everyone for the debate that we have had on this, for all of the work that has gone into this bill. I'm going to speak from my personal experience, because when we were in debate the other day, we heard about a couple of different diseases that have affected a number of people. We all know that sickle cell disease affects blacks more than anyone else, and I can't imagine being a parent having to treat a child from sickle cell for many years, how much money that may cost. I lost my very first staff member many years ago to sickle cell disease, my very first elected position. A few years later, I walked the journey with my mother with multiple myeloma. And imagine taking over your mother's medical and all of her bills to go to the pharmacy with her her insurance to get medication for her and find out that it's $400. And you're trying to figure out how you're going to help her pay the rest of her bills and take care of your own family at the same time. That was 2010. Imagine what that cost is today. So with that, I do appreciate all of the debate. I appreciate both sides, but I know my journey. I know what it cost. And if there is a group that can look at upper limits of payments for prescriptions, I think that it is well worth doing that. And with that, that is why I will be casting my vote on this particular bill. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Madam Speaker.
Gentleman from Montgomery.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I rise with the permission of the floor leader, I think, because of my unique perspective on this issue. I think I'm the only one in the body that takes 12 medications due to my various health conditions. And I am very, very fortunate because as a state delegate, we have excellent health insurance. And I am blessed. But what I will say is that at my pharmacy, my local pharmacy, they always say, Mr. Kaufman, here's the retail price if you didn't have insurance. And the costs are astronomical. And I am just so blessed to have insurance. But because we know that the number one cause of medical bankruptcy bankruptcy is because of medical costs, I will proudly be voting green on this legislation because I know, despite the best efforts of our amazing chair at HGO and the amazing vice chair, there are still people that have to choose between medication and food. And I also just want to respond to my friend, the majority leader's point that he has said several times that, oh, the board hasn't done much. Well, it's done important work, but it would have done even more important work. Unfortunately, the legislation was initially vetoed by Governor Hogan, who didn't support this bold idea to lower prescription drug costs and to not make Marylanders choose between food and medication. So on behalf of people with disabilities everywhere and all Marylanders, I will proudly be voting green.
Gentleman from Baltimore County.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. This is actually a really important point in discussing this issue, and I actually want to talk to the young people listening here today, maybe the pages. This is really formative for you, because if you listen to these arguments, by the time you're working and you have insurance, your health care, your prescriptions, everything's going to be affordable, right? And we hear this kind of discussion year after year, and before you know it, your energy costs look like a second mortgage bill. So I want to start with an analogy. A lot of people think in healthcare, it's driven by profit, it's capitalism, it's market driven. That's actually, in this state, it's remarkably false. You see, hospitals actually, there are no for-profit hospitals in this state. And what hospitals have to do is they have to come to the state, and the state tells them what prices they could charge for different services. And that results in hospitals largely structuring their operation to facilitate what the state tells them they can do. In District 6, we lost the most loved pediatric care facility in Franklin Square, which was also the closest, because these cost containment measures required them to shut that down. And the cost containment mechanism that we use unilaterally across the state is called community care. And what that is hospitals literally, they get penalized for not throwing you out of the hospital. A quote came out in an article this morning that said, "We can't have policies that limit access to appropriate care and that don't allow hospitals to be paid appropriately for care that is provided." That's from Kevin Sowers, CEO of Johns Hopkins. And that's the underlying problem, is that if you don't have market forces governing your market, you're going to end up with irregularities that result in either skyrocketing costs or less services. So what this bill today is saying, we're going to have a board, and the board is going to set what could be the maximum upper pay limit for your prescriptions going forward. So we're taking the market forces out of the market completely, and the state is now, or at least this board, is at least going to be setting the pay limits for your prescription drugs. So like we've dealt with, in hospital care, and we have what many have quoted, and this article quotes today, as being the worst availability and the longest wait times in the entire country. And now that we have set energy mandates across the board, we have skyrocketing costs of energy. What we're doing today is now we are giving the authority of a non-elected board to set cost limits on prescription drugs. What could go wrong? So I don't believe in socialism, and I don't say that facetiously. Socialism literally is taking the market forces out of a market and giving it to a regulator, and in this case, they will be controlling the cost of prescription drugs. And I actually don't think this is just a problem with minority communities. There are some problems in policy, Madam Speaker, nobody can escape. This is going to impact every single community, every single political persuasion, every single age bracket, and it's these young people who we need to think about going forward, because like the struggles we have now with hospital wait times or the costs of energy, they're going to be dealing with when they get to our age with prescription drug costs. And that's why I'll be a no today.
Yes, go ahead.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I'm going to vote against this bill. I want to be brief, but just say to my good friend from Economic Matters Committee, I appreciate your testimony and the comments that you were making today. I will say that in 2010, we were talking about Obamacare. That was called the Affordable Care Act. We were setting in place standards for a particular purpose. It does not surprise me, honestly, to some of the other comments being made, that the more we put government in the place of the constituent, the patient, and the business people that provide these services, the more you're going to create these bubbles in the economy. It's going to require bills like this to force the private sector to do certain things that we would rather not see them do. However, unless we're going to take over healthcare as a state and as a country, if we're going to have a single payer system, here we are in the state of Maryland having to pass bills like this. I live on the Eastern Shore, and we had our Eastern Shore delegation meeting this morning talking about healthcare. What we were talking about was rural access to care. We were talking about providers that are not being reimbursed, period, but those that are being reimbursed at rates that aren't matching what the cost of that care looks like. We're also on the Eastern Shore concerned about our pharmacies, those providers for which we are counting on our citizens to be able to actually get prescriptions. And so as we start to meddle with the private sector, the market, when we start taking bills like this and say we're going to, as a state, force a limit, all you're doing at that point is saying that we, as a state, are okay, that maybe you're not, maybe a constituent is not going to be able to get that prescription. I think, Madam Speaker, this bill should probably read not lowering prescription drug cost, it's lowering prescription drug use for all Marylanders. This bill, in its net effect, is going to limit people's ability to buy because we as a state are refusing to acknowledge where the market is today, and that's the wrong policy to take. I hope that this legislature and our state and our nation starts to get honest about our health care system. It's broken right now. Whatever we tried to do under Barack Obama over 10 years ago, calling it the Affordable Care Act, can we honestly sit here today and say that we've made health care more affordable? I don't think that is at all the case. This is another bill that speaks to that issue, how the state's trying to reconcile this. We're in the wrong place to do it. It's the wrong policy. Madam Speaker, I'm voting against the bill.
Committee Chair.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Good morning. I wasn't planning to get up because my Vice Chair has done an amazing job, and you'll hear from her in a few minutes. However, I have to respond to the gentleman's statement that Obamacare did not work. I want to give you a little history. Prior to Obamacare, the Affordable Health Care Act, because it's the same, some people do not know that. In Maryland, we had 14% of our population that was uninsured. Back then, 2011, 2010, about 6 million people. Today we have a little over 6 million. When we adopted Obamacare, and we went at it alone, thank God, because of what's happening right now in the federal government. I'm glad we have a state exchange. We were able to reduce the number of uninsured by more than 50%. We had approximately 756,000 people without insurance. When we adopted Obamacare, and yes, we were one of the states that expanded Medicaid, we were able to cover more than 450,000 people. Presently, our uninsured rate went from 14% back then to now 6%. And guess what? They're people, they look like all of us. They're not just black people, brown people. They're people from all 23 counties and Baltimore City. So it does work. And what this body did that also enhanced and helped is that we decided, and we can agree to disagree on the policies, that's fine. But you cannot deny the facts and the data. The fact that we created a reinsurance program to stabilize the individual insurance market, which today there are over 300,000 people in it, and we've been able to keep the premiums down about 30% for the last 6 years. So this right here is a tool in the toolbox to make sure that we address the cost of prescription drugs. And the fact is, and please look at the facts, that in other countries, their cost of the drugs is a lot cheaper Again, a lot cheaper than what we in the United States, what we're paying. And why is that? When it's the same company manufacturing that drug, and we have the worst health outcomes than other countries, because pharma, PBMs, all of them are making a killing. They are making money left and right. So guess what? The federal government, they're not acting. It's chaos right now. It's dysfunctional. Are we going to wait for them to act? No. We are leaders, and we lead. And we decided that this is a tool that is worth exploring and is worth doing. And we're going to try it. We're going to try it. Because guess what? Everyone that you represent, all of you, all of us here, have people that are taking medication, that are barely making it, and especially with people being fired left and right today and let go, which affects Maryland because we're right next to the District of Columbia. And you think things are bad now? You wait. So we have to lead. And this is the right tool. Thank you.
Gentleman from Baltimore County.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Very briefly, we always hear, every time there's one of these cost containment mechanisms, we hear a ton of gaslighting. The national average monthly premium paid in the individual market in 2013 was $244, while by 19 it was $558, more than doubling, a 129% increase from 2013 to 2019. Yes, we put in place a reinsurance. What that does, it's a tax on you when you pay for your private health care. Yes, we put that in place. Maybe it normalized it for big carriers, but the ratepayer is paying that increase. And on top of that was the biggest lie about Obamacare. They called it the biggest lie of the year. Do you remember when he said, if you like your plan, you could keep it? And then tens and tens of thousands of young people who were healthy and had affordable coverage got washed out. It's been a farce from the start, and every time one of these cost-cutting bills comes up, we hear the same thing. For just the price of 1 cup of coffee, you can save prescription drug affordability. I hope we remember this day, February 21st, 2025, as the day we lost control of prescription drug affordability.
Vice Chair of the committee.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I'd like to bring us back to the bill at hand, if I might. Lots of discussion about insurance, and happy to have that discussion anytime. But today we have a bill in front of us that I think is a really important bill, and we need to be talking specifically about it. On Tuesday, the minority leader asked me a really good question. He said, "What does the bill do?" I gave this long-winded technical response about how the mechanisms of the board works and how it protects patients, how it protects payers, how it protects employers. Well, since then, I've had a little time to think about it. And how do I explain what this bill does to people who don't live in the insurance and pharmaceutical subcommittee alien world? So I want to take our discussion a few thousand feet higher. On Wednesday, we talked about the Prescription Drug Affordability Board being an experiment in progress. It's actually not a wild and crazy idea. It's actually analogous to the process that most first world other countries use in order to determine what their cost is going to be for prescription drugs in their countries. I give you the example, my good chair just mentioned what the difference is, and I gave this example in my testimony. In America, a dose of Skyrizi costs $22,000. That's not what you're paying at the pharmacy. Hopefully, if you're taking Skyrizi, you're paying a much lower rate than that because your insurance company or your government, if you are on Medicaid, is paying that $22,000. In Germany, the same dosage, the same drug is $5,000. Pretty dramatic difference. The design of their healthcare systems is what does that. And what their system is that it allows for them to negotiate based on the entire population of their country. So at its very basic level, what this bill is doing by expanding the authority to the commercial market beyond the state and local governments, which only includes, and I'm not going to get the number right, but probably about 75,000 people, this bill expands that negotiating power to 6 million people. The name of the game in healthcare in America is for insurers to get as many covered lives as possible to leverage, to negotiate, that's what our least favorite people, PBMs, do, negotiate the prices for each individual insurance carrier. So it's whatever the enrollment of that carrier is. Similar to other markets, think about Walmart, think about Amazon. Because of the volume that they have, they pay manufacturers a whole lot less than our local hardware stores. One issue about prescription drugs, on top of that, is that the leverage is very important because the name brand prescription drugs are protected by government monopoly. And that really limits the market competition that we depend on to control costs. So the way that other countries do it was exactly what the design was of the executive order under the Biden administration for Medicare. Because if we were able to negotiate with Medicare, the volume is 60 million people. So you've got a lot of negotiating leverage there with 60 million. Unfortunately, that's not going to happen now. At a very high level, this bill is like aggregating the purchasing power of the state. And I would think that would be something that my colleagues who differ from me would really appreciate, that we are aggregating the purchasing power of our state. So instead of the plans in negotiating their own individual things. So this bill really does protect patients and the little guys, and to get them the same deal as the big guys. It actually might stir a little competition among the insurance carriers who are using that when they're able to use those upper payment limits. Or, I want to remind folks, that's not the only tool the board has available to it. So yesterday I talked about not yesterday, but yeah, it was Wednesday. I talked about the reasons why I thought companies wouldn't leave Maryland. Well, 6 million reasons why companies won't leave Maryland. They're not going to leave a market of 6 million people. And as our good chair just said, at this point, 94% of those people are covered by insurance. So they're not going to lose that market. So I would ask you to consider this concept of the board and allow the process to proceed to the benefit of all of our residents here in Maryland, and vote yes on this bill. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Is there any further debate? If not, the clerk will call the roll.
Madam Speaker?
Madam Speaker, to explain my vote. Explain
Go
my
ahead.
vote.
Go ahead.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. All I can do is come to Annapolis, and I've done it for 11 years, and reflect what I'm hearing from my district and from my citizens. And to say that the system is broke is an understatement. To the chair of the committee, Let me just say, when we talk about access to care, what I'm really saying and what I want to reinforce is that access to care is when constituents can't get care, when we have providers that are not being reimbursed correctly, and when we have a system. I'm a private business owner that offers insurance to my employees. When I have few options as opposed to many options of insurance companies that participate in this market, know that I live it. When I talk about offering insurance plans with high deductibles, high premiums, that are basically designed for emergency care, I know something's not right. This is not affordable. So on the bill, when I say that the bill's title should be lowering prescription drug availability, it's because I live it on the Eastern Shore. Our citizens live this. When we pass these bills, we can talk about the best that we can do. And I understand, under the rules of the game, this is probably the best that we can do. I'm saying, as a private sector guy, there are market options that are much different than this that will not cause disruptions. This bill will cause a disruption, Madam Speaker, and I'm sorry to see it happen. Thank you very much.
Madam Speaker.
Yes, go ahead.
To explain my vote, thank you, Madam Speaker. This is one of those bills where I think everybody in here agrees on the intent of the bill. And we heard some very sincere stories about difficult times dealing with prescription drugs with your own family and life-saving drugs. And we believe that we're going to use leverage to bring down prescription drugs. It would be great if we could do that. But this bill has been in front of me and this board for 6 years. I guess we've gotten a report for 5 years. The thing that scared me most about this is what they put in their own report from September. 3 key takeaways. Number one takeaway, could cause supply chain issues and market failures. That doesn't mean you can't afford the prescription. That means you can't get it. That's what scares me. If we didn't have these concerns, I think everybody in this room would vote for it. We don't want to see the market failures, and we don't want somebody to unfortunately lose their life because they can't get a prescription because we didn't have it available here in the state, and you've seen this happen in other countries. You can't force it. I wish we could, but you can't. I pray that I'm wrong about this, but this is what they put in their own report. We could see market failures. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Majority Leader.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Colleagues, I rise to explain my green vote on this bill. It's real simple. What's twisting me, though, is this bizarro world floor debate I've been listening to about the state of health care in Maryland. The minority party is claiming to worry about research and development into life-saving medication. They claim to care about access to health care. All the while, this bill is not your problem if those are your concerns. We live in Maryland. This is the headquarters of the Food and Drug Administration. It's the headquarters of NIH. All of these federal institutions, the very ones that bring you those life-saving drugs and that foster the research and development on those drugs, are headquartered in this state. I read members of the minority party claiming that these layoffs are a blessing to their constituents. Let me be very clear. The majority party disagrees with this view. It is not a blessing. It's not a blessing to our tax base. It's not a blessing to the deficit that we're facing and the economy that we're trying to get jump-started here. This is a company town, essentially. And we have plant closures across the state in all of our counties thanks to the minority party leader. Let's be very real about this. If you care about healthcare access, if you care about pharmaceutical research and development and science, all of the things that your amendments the other day claims to be about, this bill is not your problem. President Musk and what Vice President Trump are doing, that is your problem. Boo.
Speaker.
Yes, boo.
To explain my vote?
Yes. I'm not done.
It's been 2 minutes.
I would like to read you from your president's remarks from his own press conference
I haven't recognized anyone else. The gentleman is still speaking.
in 2020.
Time.
It's entitled
Madam,
Lower Prescription
point of order.
Drug
The
Prices.
gentleman's time has
Speaker.
expired.
Madam Speaker, he's supposed to be explaining his vote.
Point of privilege, Madam
This is,
Speaker.
we have
Will you
protocols here.
let me speak? Okay, his time is up. He's going to
My
sit
time
down.
is up. I
You
will
got-
yield.
Yeah,
Calm
he's going
down.
to yield.
down.
Relax, if you can. Who was the person that got up first? Go ahead.
Thank you, Madam Speaker, to explain my vote. That was painful, and I look forward to the majority leader running for Congress soon. I don't know what this bill could possibly have to do with Donald Trump or Elon Musk. This bill is about rigging the market. Conservatives never like that. I'm so sorry to offend you with our belief that the free market is the best way to lower the cost of things. That's what reality says. When you have a lot of players in the market, it lowers the cost because people are fighting to improve their product, and the more people fighting for that drive the cost down. We all learned it in elementary school, in middle school, in high school. When you rig markets, it actually hurts people. That has nothing to do with Donald Trump, who, by the way, put a cap on insulin. You're welcome. So we can be reasonable, can't we? Okay? So, I'm voting no on this bill because it's not going to do what you said it was going to do, the same way as many people said Obamacare was going to fix everything. It didn't do that either. We're sorry, it didn't work how you said it was going to work. We wish it had, it didn't. Please, let's not rewrite history. So I'm a hard red on this. And please, dear Lord, let's stay on the topic next time.
Gentleman from Eastern Shore.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I just want to take all those words that the minority leader literally put in my mouth. I just want to spew them out, if I may. So these agencies, these government regulatory agencies that he referred to, they regulate the industry. They don't actually produce and manufacture these things. Who produces and manufactures these pharmaceuticals are private companies, and who funds these private companies are investors. I don't know anything about how to manufacture anything that we talked about, whether it's insulin or any other drug that's out there. However, if I'm going to invest in these private companies, I want to make, which with R&D, you mentioned that's very, very risky. If I want to get a return on that investment, or if I'm going to take that risk, that high risk, I would expect a high return. That's just the way the private sector runs. That's the reason why we're the greatest country in the entire world, is because we're built on that. Risk versus reward. Our forefathers and foremothers have been taking risks throughout the entire history of our country. Sometimes it works, sometimes it does not. But we continue to take risks because there's a reward that could be attached to that. And that's exactly what we are concerned about. You know, if we start price fixing these, if every state across the country did exactly what we're doing today, what that's going to end up doing is going to eliminate that potential reward that these companies and these investors are willing to take when in research and development. So we do completely understand what's going on here. So to anybody to insinuate that we do not, it's insulting, and I would urge the body to please don't do this over the next month and a half of session. We pray every single morning that we're going to work together, that we're going to be collaborative, that we're going to be professional on the floor. And I ask that we continue to do that between now and Sine Die. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Madam Speaker.
Yes, go ahead.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. The developers and inventors of insulin believe that to make profit from it would be immoral, and they sold the patent for $1. And for some reason today, Americans pay more for insulin than most developed countries. And the federal government didn't do anything to address it, but we did with the insulin reduction, the Cost Reduction Act that I was proud to vote for. Similarly, Americans pay more for prescription than many developing countries. The federal government is not acting. States are the laboratories of public policy, especially on issues that directly impact people's lives, like the affordability of prescriptions. It's a problem, and we cannot ignore it, and that is what this bill is hoping to address. And I was wondering where I was hearing some of these arguments, the sky is falling argument about, you know, it won't lower prescription and what it would do to the market. These were some of the arguments we were hearing on the Insulin Cost Reduction Act a couple of years ago. Now Marylanders are paying less for insulin in this state than what other Americans are paying for in other states. Each and every one of us have a responsibility to act to ensure that our constituents don't have to choose between medication, housing, transportation, and whatever cost of living needs. This is not a cheap state to live in. Everyone knows that. And this bill helps many of our constituents, including mine, and I think it's the right policy prescription, and I'm proud to vote green. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Minority Leader.
Madam Speaker, in explaining my vote, I just wanted to bring down the temperature a little bit and remind you all about Maryland. We do, like our majority leader said, have a number of those anchor institutions that help to underwrite in both in funding but in research dollars for our healthcare. But what this bill ultimately is about is just protecting Marylanders. This bill is not actually about the Affordable Care Act, or as you all continue to call Obamacare. You know, it really isn't even about what's happening down the street in Washington. It is an attempt by our Committee from Health and Government Operations, and many of the minority party who's on that committee too, who debated this over years, to make sure that Marylanders can afford their prescriptions, our neighbors, our loved ones. I'm voting green because that is what we're here to do. It's not about some bigger other argument. Let's stay on the issue, the assignment ahead of us at the specific moment. Prescription drug affordability here in Maryland. If you agree that we want it to be affordable, then we need to make sure that what we've put in place with this board has the resources, can review the upper limits or not, to make sure that it's affordable in our state for Marylanders. Nothing else, nothing more. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Thank you, Minority. But yes, Baltimore County again.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Very briefly, I think this bill is actually an affront to trying to help and protect Marylanders, all Marylanders. I want to close with a couple brief arguments about how our cost-cutting mechanisms have actually hurt them. In the healthcare system where we set prices and the way we plan to do in this bill, we've implemented community care. Let me give you an example of how this occurs. A friend of mine, his father had a stroke. When you have a stroke, the remediation and the rehabilitation that happens immediately afterwards is critical for you to recover your bodily function. He was in a hospital in Maryland, and due to the community care, they said, you have to go. And he did not receive the rehabilitation that he needed, and he lost 80% of the use of his body. For Legislative District 6, our most loved pediatric facility at Franklin Square had to be cut so that that hospital could fall in line with the regulations given to them with the affordability guidelines by the state. So I don't think these rules, these mechanisms help Marylanders at all. I think they hurt them. I think it's an affront, and the word we all should remember, like the gentleman from Anne Arundel County said, is accessibility. This is going to hurt accessibility for Marylanders.
Briefly, Madam Speaker.
Briefly.
I'm an educator and researcher myself, and pharmaceutical companies benefit heavily from taxpayer-funded R&D. That's true. And they price essential medicine as if the public never contributed. A National Institutes of Health, NIH study found that public funding contributed to all 356 FDA-approved drugs from 2010 to 2019. Yet these same drugs are sold at such a high price, forcing taxpayer to pay twice, once through taxes, again at the pharmacy. That is not right. Therefore, this is the wonderful bill that help all the vulnerable folks. So I'm voting green on this bill. Thank you.
Is there any further debate? Not, the clerk will call the roll. There being 94, has everyone recorded their vote though? Okay. If not, clerk will take the call. There being 94 votes in the affirmative, House Bill 424, having received a constitutional majority, is declared passed. That ends work at the desk. Committee announcements, appropriations.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. The Appropriations Committee will vote at 12:45, followed by budget hearings.
Judiciary.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Ladies and gentlemen of the House Judiciary Committee will not be meeting today.
Environment and Transportation.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. The House Environment and Transportation Committee will meet at 1 p.m. for voting session, followed by bill hearings.
Ways and Means.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. The Ways and Means Committee will not meet today. We are meeting Monday at 11 a.m. Listen up for subcommittee announcements.
Economic Matters.
Madam Speaker, House Economic Matters Committee will meet at 1 p.m. for bill hearings.
Health and Government Operations.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. The Health and Government Operations Committee will meet at 12:30 for a voting session, 1 p.m. for a briefing, 2 o'clock for bill hearings. Thank you.
Any subcommittee announcements? Yes. She got up first.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. The Early Childhood Subcommittee will meet today at 12:40. That is a time change, 12:40 virtually.
Okay, yes.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. The Health and Social Services Subcommittee of Appropriations will do our Medicaid budget briefing on Monday at 1 p.m. in the Prince George's County Delegation Room. Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. The Transportation and Environment Subcommittee of Appropriations will have a subcommittee meeting on Monday at 1 p.m.
Okay, yes.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. The Family and Juvenile Law Subcommittee will meet Monday at 10 a.m. virtually.
Okay, go ahead.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. The Public Safety and Administration Subcommittee of Approach will meet Monday at 1 p.m. in the Baltimore City Delegation Room.
Yeah, go ahead.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. The Civil Law Subcommittee will meet at 12:30.
Yes.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. The Capital Budget Subcommittee of Appropriations will meet on Monday at 3 p.m. in the Appropriations Committee room.
Okay, yes.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. The Public Safety Subcommittee will meet at 4 p.m. via Zoom on Monday.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Local Revenues Subcommittee will meet today at 1:30 via Zoom.
Okay, seeing no one else. Okay, any delegation announcements? Delegation announcements, okay. Any caucus announcements? Yes.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. The Maryland Legislative LGBTQ+ Caucus will be meeting this Monday at 6:30 p.m. via Zoom. Please check your email for details.
Any other caucus announcement? Yes.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. On behalf of the Transit Caucus, I want to remind members that the second of our 3 briefings on transit issues on Monday. It's regarding the DC metro area transit, and the following week, March 3rd, we're doing a briefing at noon on the Baltimore region transit. You should have received emails, and if anyone has any questions and wants to join either of those briefings, staff are also welcome. If you didn't receive the information, please get with me and we'll make sure you get it. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Are there any other caucus announcements? Yes.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. The Fire and EMS Coalition did not meet this past Monday. We will meet this Monday, 3 p.m. in the Neal Conference Room. There's also a Zoom option, so if you would like to log into that, you can get that from my office, 3 p.m. Monday in the Senate. Thank you.
Any personal or guest announcements? Minority whip.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Permission to use delegates' names?
Permission granted.
Thank you. Colleagues, if you don't mind hanging out with some members of the minority party still, Delegate Miller, Delegate Siliberti and I were hosting a District 4 night with really good barbecue. There's some alcoholic beverages, things that everybody likes. Monday at 6 p.m., room 170. And we will not be talking about what goes on in D.C. during that period. So please come and join us, and we appreciate you. Thank you.
Anyone else? Gentleman from Howard.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I just stand up welcome more than 30 vocational schools
and from Anhui province of China, which is our sister state. They're visiting Maryland and they're trying to looking for opportunities to work with our school system across the state. And I'm not sure they're on the back or front, but welcome. Thank you.
All right. Young lady from Baltimore County.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I hope they're still here. Colleagues, please join me as I welcome my sisters from the Highlanders Professional Black Women Incorporated. This organization of distinguished women is a non-profit. Can you stand up if you're here? Thank you.
Yes.
Okay. A non-profit service, civic, social, and charitable organization founded by Gloria Marrow in Baltimore County, chartered by 42 hardworking women, of which I am proud to be one. The organization is dedicated to developing businesses and the lives of residents in Baltimore County through political, health, social, and educational initiatives. So please welcome the Highlanders from, well, 4 of them, from Baltimore County. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Yes, go ahead.
Madam Speaker.
Oh, he got up before you. Go ahead.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. So on Monday, February 24th, after you get tired of hanging out with the Frederick County delegation, eat their food first. On behalf of my colleagues, permission to use the delegates' names.
Permission granted.
Delegate Mark Chang and Delegate Sandy Bartlett, we will be hosting our district night on the 17th, or the 24th as well, but definitely go eat Frederick's food first and then come see us. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Okay, all righty. Yes.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. And after you've been entertained by the good gentleman from Anne Arundel County, please join us for the Fighting District 6 night, which will also be held Monday 6 in the Senate building.
Okay. All righty. Yes. Go ahead.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Good morning, well, good afternoon now, esteemed colleagues. Madam Speaker, permission to use delegates' names?
Permission granted.
Thank you so much. Today, I am pleased to recognize a special group of students who have joined us in the gallery. Please join Delegates Roberts and Delegate Roberson and I to welcome the Chesapeake Math and IT South, because we have 2, Chesapeake Math and IT South Elementary School Student Government Association. Look at the little kiddos. Yes. Stay standing, you all. This is an exciting moment for them as it marks their very first year with a student government association. These young leaders are part of a public charter school in Prince George's County in District 25, and they partner with the Chesapeake Lighthouse Foundation. For 6 years, CMIT South has been shaping the leaders of tomorrow with students ranging from kindergarten through 5th grade. And today, we have 17 students with us eager and ready to learn about the legislative process. They learned a lot today, and their commitment to leadership and community service is inspiring, as we are proud to have them here in the House today. Let's give them another warm welcome as we encourage them to continue to grow, learn, and lead. Welcome, students. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Yes, go ahead.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Hey, y'all. This is just your friendly parliamentarian here. As you know, we have very spirited debates about things that matter not only to us personally, but also to the people we represent. But just a couple of refreshers. We only speak when acknowledged by the speaker to do so. Also, when we are rising to explain our vote, which we all have a right to do, the clerks are timing for the 2 minutes that are allowed in the rules to do so. And at the appropriate time, the speaker will let you know when your time has expired if you have used up your time. Also, the Speaker is the keeper of order and decorum in the House. And so it has been the custom in this chamber to not be overtly political or personal in our debate. Because I know we all have, because I reminded you last year, we have the sources, I believe on your phones, probably in your offices. We can find other words to describe how we feel that do not impugn the integrity or the character of others. And we could also find a way to make our arguments that do not infer that people have some type of mental health disorder or things of that nature. And so I say all this with love and respect for everyone in the chamber, that these are just the refreshers I want to share with everyone. I believe that we all care deeply, passionately, and we can do so in decency and order. So thank you all, and that's for everyone in the chamber, no matter what side of the aisle you're on, we all have to abide by those rules.
Yes.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Permission to use the delegates' names.
Permission granted.
Colleagues, good afternoon. Please join me and delegates Robin Lewis and Lou Klippinger in welcoming our doctor of the day today. It's Dr. Sarah Merritt from District 46. She is an anesthesiologist and works in pain management. Probably could have helped us with that debate that we just had. She's also the practice owner at Lifestream Health Center in Bowie and Baltimore. Please join us in welcoming her today.
Okay. Today is Friday. Protocol Chair.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. All right, it's Friday. Come on down, you sunshines. Oh, what a week we have had. Come on, you sunshines. Oh, my. You have done a great job today. So, today is the day that I call your names, family, for just this week. And when you know the drill, when I call your name, still let them know that you're still here and wave to all the delegates. You ready? All right, here we go. Isabel Barr, Dorchester County, District 37B, Cambridge South, Dorchester High School. Kiera Bosley, Carroll County, District 42C, Curtel Academy. Kiana High G. Carmelu, Montgomery County, District 15, Northwest High School. Sylvia Rando, Baltimore County, District 32, Mount DeSale Academy. Julian Renee, Prince George's County, District 23, Bowie High School. Kimani Ryans, Charles County, District 28, Maurice J. McDonald High School. Evan Trump, Howard County, District 9A, Riverside High School. And finally, Faith Erbach, Carroll County, District 5, Manchester Valley High School. All right, your protocol chair got through that. And I'm just want to just thank you personally, and I know that our speaker thanks you personally, and I thank you again for doing a fantastic job with all these wonderful delegates that we have. They're my hearts, and you are my babies. Okay, you can be excused now, you good old sunshines. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Yes.
Protocol chaired, and I just want to remind you, we're getting close to our wonderful last day in April. And y'all are doing so well. You're so obedient. So just to remind you just one more time, come to room 205 and see Delegate Turner, your protocol chair. Signing out, Madam Speaker. And y'all have a good day.
Anyone else? Okay. Quorum call.
Madam Speaker.
Has everyone recorded their presence? Clerk will take the call. There being 131 members present, the House is still in session. Recognizing the majority leader.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I move that the House stands recessed until Monday, February 24th at 8 p.m. Legislative Day, February 21st.